Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I am very excited to talk to you about period underwear actually. I know that periods can be kind of a taboo topic sometimes. I think we're kind of getting out of that era, but I know it can be uncomfortable and you know, a lot of the solutions out there are not comfortable for women. I know growing up, like I was always a tampon user because pads just made me so grossed out. And I know kind of reverse of that, my sister just really felt like she couldn't use tampons. So she was always using pads, but you know, we just know they're like gross. They're not environmentally friendly. And so she found some, you know, period underwear and it absolutely changed her life. So I think it can be a great solution for teenagers, you know, postpartum moms, really anyone who, you know, wants to think about the environment, wants to feel comfortable when they're on their period or, you know, kind of bleeding. So definitely excited about this video. So I did collaborate for this with a brand called Lilova. So they were kind enough to send me a pair of their underwear, which is great. You know, I want to make sure that you understand though that like I will always be true to my opinions and my thoughts. I don't let brands dictate to me what, you know, I should do on my channel. I want you guys to feel confident buying a product if I've recommended it. So with that said, let's jump right in. So just a couple of things to note about this brand. They have 6 different styles on their website. And so this is from like high-waisted, hip hugger, they have thongs. And keep in mind with the different products, they, you know, hold only a certain amount of blood. So, you know, the more full coverage are like 2 tampons worth. Thongs, I think, are more about a half of a tampon. So figure as your flow is like goes from heavy to light, you can always switch it up and, you know, kind of use the different products. So I personally, to be 100% honest, I've been using period underwear now for a couple years. I have previously used a different brand. So I am really excited to see how these two compare. So that will be a part of my comparison, is just how the two measure up. But I personally don't really like free bleeding during the day. It's just not really what I'm about. But at night, for the longest time, I was like using tampons at night, which obviously can be really, really dangerous with septic shock and different things like that. I've since switched to the Diva Cup just to be more environmentally friendly, but at night, I do just like to, you know, more like free bleed. So I have been using period underwear for the past 2 years, just at night. And when I went to try to get an IUD, you know, you can't really have anything up there after that. So that's when that's when I first started using period underwear. So maybe TMI, I don't know. Anyway, so to begin with, I got the Olivia Hiphuggers and they come in this cute little bag, which I think is a really nice touch. I love when brands, you know, think about more of like the full picture, and having a storage bag I think is really nice. You know, the ones that I got previously didn't come in this, and I feel like it's something that you only use once a month. So having a bag like this makes it really easy to like go into your drawer and stay organized and just like pull this out. You're only going to use it once a month, like come on. So open it up, and so these are the ones so these are the hip huggers. So they are very full coverage. If I'm going to be sleeping in these, like I don't want to, you know, make a mess. So I just want full coverage underwear. In my everyday life, I would probably go for more of like a cheeky type of bottom. But as far as, you know, sleeping and wanting to just be comfortable and not feel like anything's going to leak and I'm going to have a mess and, you know, wake up trying to go to work and now my sheets are a mess. We all know the drama. So unfortunately, they didn't have my size in black. So in most of them, they have, you know, a nude and a black. There's some other colors, I think, in some of the other styles, but in this one particularly, they had nude and black. So I did get the nude because I did want to try this style. Obviously black would have been more ideal, but what you gonna do? This is life, right? So here they are, as you can see, very, very full coverage. Would not usually go for these. So first thing is you can kind of see where the thicker part is stitched in. So on the outside here, it is just very like stretchy, thin material. And then you can see where like almost like the pad is built in. Now this isn't like super thick. It's obviously thicker than your normal pair of underwear because you need more protection. They did send me this information, so I'm just gonna read it to you because this does have 4 layers to it, to like the thicker part. And I think that's pretty standard because I know that the other brand that I've used also was 4 layers. So I think that that's a pretty standard amount of layers. So the first layer is moisture wicking. And so that's gonna, you know, add some softness and breathability. The second layer is an antimicrobial lining, and that fights bacteria and odors. The third layer is a super absorbent fabric, which will hold up to 2 tampons worth, and that is for these specifically. So I think it's the Hiphuggers, the Hipster, and then the bikinis and the high-waisted all hold 2 tampons, and then the thong is a half of a tampon. So keep that in mind. So these ones will hold 2. And then the fourth layer is a leak resistant nylon outer layer, which will make sure that you're not leaking, which is great. So, as I said, you know, there's kind of different styles for everyone, so that as things are heavier, go to a lighter flow. You want to wear a thong, go for it. I know, you know, we don't want to wear like full coverage underwear all the time. So, you know, I think that this can be a lifesaver for teens who maybe don't know how to use a tampon, don't feel comfortable with that. And obviously pads are not environmentally friendly. They're so uncomfortable. It's so awkward, like putting them in. It's just such a hassle. So I think these are great. And then obviously postpartum moms as well. So what I want to do for you guys, I'm going to give these a go. I'm going to wear them, and let you know how they hold up. I will say that they seem very, very similar to what I've used in the past, honestly. Like thickness wise, everything is very similar. So I don't think that there's going to be much of an issue. I think they're probably a pretty similar product. But I will say that the nylon, I think on the outside, like this is very, I think a bit softer. I have my other pair here and they're very similar, but I think this is maybe like a little bit softer. Obviously I've had these for 2 years, so it's a little bit harder to remember, you know, how they were on day 1. But I'm going to wear these, wash these, and then I will give you my full review, and finish things off for you. Something else just to mention, because they did give me some really great information, so I just want to make sure that you guys have all of it. Which this was something I didn't know, is that tampons and pads can take 500 to 800 years to decompose. So that's a freaking long time to have that in a landfill. So I think that if you are environmentally conscious, this is like a great solution to your problem. You know, there obviously are other products. So if you're more, you know, about the tampon life, you can use things like the Diva Cup and whatnot. But I think we all just need to start being environmentally conscious and just thinking about how our decisions are impacting the world. So, you know, I've tried to start switching to other solutions. And I get it. They're not for everyone. You know, everyone's in a different situation. And I think, you know, when it comes to these kinds of things, it can be uncomfortable. And we obviously want to be as comfortable as we can, because like when you're bloated and you just feel gross and your hormones are all over the place, like you don't want to be like worrying about things leaking and like all this. You're like at the office. I remember there was one day I was at the office and this woman who I don't know stood up and like things were a mess. And I just remember feeling so bad for her. Because I think that's like all of us girls' like worst nightmare, you know? So I know that, you know, period underwear changed my sister's life. It's offered me a solution at night, especially. So I think, you know, we'll see how these hold up, and I will get back to you and let you know my thoughts. So stay tuned. All right, I'm back. So I have tried them, washed them. So first I washed them, obviously. Then I tried them, then I washed them again. So they've been washed twice now, and used once, and very pleasantly surprised. The one thing that I will say is that it does take a little bit of time to dry, and I don't know if it's just because it's cold outside, it's a bit drier outside. I'm not sure, because it's winter, or I don't know if it's spring now, but yeah, I would say, you know, when you wear them, they really do stay dry. I was actually very, very surprised. They stayed dry. They lasted, so I wore them pretty much all day, and didn't have any problems with any leaking or anything. I rinsed them, I followed the instructions, rinsed them, washed them, and like there's no staining or anything. They obviously didn't leak. So the one thing these have taken like a bit of time to dry. Like I washed these yesterday. They were hanging like all overnight, and they're still slightly damp. And I think that's just because there are so many layers. But obviously you do want to follow the instructions and not put them in the dryer, because you don't want to ruin any of the technology, for obvious reasons. The one thing I will say is that this line here, I don't know if you can really see it, but where the thickness is, there's like a line, and it does show like when they're on, but obviously when you're wearing clothes and stuff, it doesn't show. So, and I think that might be just more on the cream ones that it's more obvious, because black, you know, kind of hides everything. But yeah, very, very happy with the product. They're very comfortable. They like really don't feel that much thicker than like normal underwear. And yeah, they were, you know, drier, I would say, than like a pad or something, and there's no staining. So obviously, the little caveat to that is like, obviously when you're wearing them on your flow, there's definitely, you can like see things. So if you're really like triggered by blood, get black, because the cream, I wish that the inside was a bit of a darker color. Like a navy would be cute, or even like black, just so you don't really see it. Like no one really wants to see it. Like it's just gross, you know? But it's just life, isn't it? But yeah, with rinsing and stuff, when I first rinsed them, I was really concerned because I couldn't get the water was running clean, but there was still a stain. But then I've washed them now in the wash, and they're totally fine. There's nothing there. So I think, you know, should be fine. And yeah, very happy overall. I would highly recommend, especially if you are, you know, not about tampons, and, you know, want an alternative, or if you do wear tampons during the day and want something to wear at night, or, you know, you're a postpartum mom, or you got an IUD. There's so many uses for them. And they are like pretty comfortable. As I said, I wore it on my first day of my period. It's heaviest day. And you know, they didn't leak at all. I wore them for probably close to 8 hours, so you could probably wear them at work. I think it obviously depends on you as a person. I was talking to my sister, and she was saying that because she uses a different brand, to be honest, and they have one that can hold up to 4 tampons worth. And she was saying she needs that one on her first day because otherwise her flow is too heavy, and then she has to change her underwear midday, which is obviously not ideal. So I thought I had a heavy flow. Apparently I don't compared to my sister. If you would usually, you know, at work, maybe like change your underwear or change your tampon like once at work or something, because this does hold up to 2 tampons worth. You know, you kind of got to know your body. And I would recommend, you know, the first time you try it to maybe do it at home if you can, just so you can kind of know how long it lasts for you and, you know, what's going to be too much. I don't know if it would end up leaking if it went over 2, or if it just becomes, you know, more uncomfortable. Didn't get to that point, but it lasted all day. And I was very happy with it. So anyway, I have a link down below if you want to check it out. You know, you can click through that link and, you know, check out the products and, you know, get some if you feel inclined. So, all right. Have a good one. Stay safe with the coronavirus out there. If you have questions, feel free to shoot them down below. Would love to help answer any concerns or questions that you might have. All right.